This video was sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that makes launching your own website a breeze.
How many of these Welcome to Derry kids had to die before Margie was let into their club? And who will win in the battle of this week's trailers? Wake Up Dead Man? A Knives Out mystery? Live action Moana? Avatar Fire and Ash? A random photo from Legend of Zelda? Let's figure it out. We're ready to go. It's the Breakroom.
Hey.
Welcome back, everybody. Last night's eye-opening episode of It, Welcome to Derry, left at least one of us hoping Pennywise would come out and put us out of our eyeball slicing misery. The episode also came with a very full, some would say stuffed, mid-season trailer, giving away a lot of good juicy stuff in the episodes to come. We've also got some news about Zelda, the Odyssey, more trailers. It's a good old-fashioned headline show today, everybody. Roll that graphic.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Yes. I'm Zach Huddleston, full of beans myself. Thrilled to be on the panel. He will not stop talking about snail eye stalks. It's Berg.
And not even because of this week's episode of Welcome to Derry. That's just a tedious thing that I do around the office.
Right. And she's got a whole pile of mommy's little helpers, and she pops them before every break room. It's Gina Ippolito.
I need to stay calm, otherwise I'll murder everyone I'm up here with.
In my brain, mommy's little helpers or mother's little helpers are like uppers.
No, Valiums.
Valiums.
Yeah.
Okay.
Diazepam,
All right.
yeah.
Every suburban housewife back in the day was on
Yeah,
it.
hell yeah. There's a great Rolling Stones song.
Oh, yeah.
Running for the shelter of Mother's
Yes.
Little Helper. Okay, we're going to get to a lot of stuff about It, Welcome to Derry. We're going to talk about last night's episode. We're going to talk about that mid-season trailer. But first, we want to kind of talk about some other pieces of news and notes and trailers that have come out this week. One of the most notable ones is we got a first trailer for the live-action Moana. That's not necessarily core new Rockstars demographic, but has a very good shot to make more money than any other movie next year.
You know, a lot of our children will probably watch it a thousand times.
Is your daughter a Moana head?
She was when the first one came out.
Yeah.
We watched a lot of the first Moana, so it's one where the songs are like forever brain-wormed into me.
And there's two animated Moanas.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, the sequel just came out last year.
Oh.
Yep. That was originally going to be a Disney Plus show, and they
that's right.
They squished it together into a film that made a ton of money. I believe the first Moana is also the most watched movie on streaming of all time.
It has some crazy, superlative.
It's
like that.
Still on a monthly basis in the top 10 streamed movies, like to this day.
I mean, listen, those kids, I like my little nieces, if they like something, they're like, let's watch it again.
Yes.
Let's roll it again. And you're like, hey,
repetition.
we've watched this 30 times and I'm going to blow my brains out. And they're like, what? Roll it again.
They love it. The comfort. Yeah. So there's that. And, notable, a bunch of shots from the animated movie, but now with humans and lots of CGI. And very little Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Surprisingly little The Rock.
You see none of his face. You see a wig and a back.
You see him transform from a beetle into something else at some point.
Yeah, so I was speculating we'll get a more Maui-centered trailer between now and the release of the film.
It is weird that they feel the need to save him, though. They're like, you know who this is?
It is. I mean, the young woman who's playing Moana, I don't know her name. Seems like she has a good singing voice, looks the part. But so much of that trailer, all I could think was like, the Hey looks the exact same as he did in the original movie. The Kakamora looked the exact same as they did in the original movie.
We're gonna talk about rules of a universe when we get to Welcome to Derry. Welcome to Derry.
Yeah.
The rules of live action adaptations, in the Lion King live action adaptations. There's zero non-CGI. So it's like, whatever. Yeah, I was joking on our work Slack that it's like, if you're going to do live action, I want a real chicken.
Yeah.
Yes.
Train that chicken.
Yes, if Robert Eggers can find a weird goat for the witch and a weird seagull for the lighthouse, we can find a weird chicken
and a million
for Moana.
real rats. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But We also got a second or third trailer for Wake Up Dead Man, the new Knives Out movie coming out later this year.
Yeah.
I think that's dropping in December.
I think so. Yeah, I think those are traditionally like holiday releases.
I mean,
Yes.
Netflix is really padding their December, right? Like they're, I guess Stranger Things starts on Thanksgiving, but like, you know, then the next chapter is in December. They're really like, they don't, if anyone's trying to kill Christmas, it's Netflix.
Well, and they tend to almost always skew heavy Q4, like end of the year.
Yeah.
I think because like, I'm sure they have research that like people are home and like
I know,
watch it with your family.
Yeah.
I
Or
think-
like avoid your family by staying in your room and binge watching all four seasons.
I think there's also something about like, you know, maybe you get some more watch time and more like subscriptions, and then those like overlap into Q1 or whatever.
Well, there's also like all sorts of like, you know, theories of like award season, like when you should release it so the Academy remembers to vote for it, and when, you know, because if you release a movie too early in the year, they forget about it come FYC
like a primacy versus recency thing.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
and I don't think we're going to watch either of the Moana or the Knives Out trailer. They both look good.
I'm pretty excited for Wake Up Dead Man.
Yes.
Yeah,
it looks very
I
good.
love the last two Knives Out films. I'm a big Ryan Johnson fan.
And this trailer doesn't like, obviously it doesn't give anything away because it's a mystery,
Right.
but
Sure,
you get a lot of good looks at all the fun cast members. I mean, this is also, my wife is obsessed with British murder mysteries. We are BritBox and Acorn TV subscribers.
Yes. Hell
She
yes.
watches all of it. And like, I love watching them sometimes with her, though I don't watch very much of it. And she always knows who the killer is, mostly by casting. Right? Like whoever the most famous person on the show who's not like the detective is probably ultimately going to be the killer, right? But like something like these Knives Out movies,
everybody
he subverts that because there's 20 famous people in the movie. When it's like Thomas Hayden Church doesn't even have a line in the trailer.
Right.
He's the groundskeeper or whatever. And then there's Glenn Close and what's her name from Scandal.
Kerry Washington.
Andrew
Scott.
Andrew Scott. And I mean, Hawkeye himself up in there. Great month for him.
He's also got Florida Man coming out.
Josh Brolin. So much going on. So anyways, those are interesting. And then a trailer we don't have yet, but we're maybe anticipating. Tickets went on sale for Avatar 3, Avatar Fire and Ash today. We typically, with a lot of these big film releases, you get a tickets on sale trailer. Interestingly, they have not released a trailer yet. They just announced the tickets are on sale.
Well, and the trailer that was playing when we saw Predator Badlands felt like not really a trailer. It was really weird,
It was very weird. Like, it also doesn't look great when you're watching a movie like that on just a regular old screen, I guess. Because I was like, why does this look so bad?
I'm not an Avatar person. You know,
Same.
they're just not my thing. But my main thing with the trailer was like, you know, normally a trailer is built around a scene or it gives you a sense of the story or the scope. And this felt just like random clips that have been put together.
Which is interesting because it's like maybe that audience does just want to see stuff.
Where's Brandon when you need him?
And like,
question.
And I think that is a franchise built on like, you want to spend 3 hours in that world.
Yes.
And like, there's not necessarily a plot hook or a character. Also, it's not like they're giving us a lot of like recognizable actors, even though all of those Na'vi are played by very famous people. You cannot tell by watching a trailer or by even watching the film necessarily.
It was part of like Zoe Saldana's era where it's like, she had a Tom Hardy thing where you never saw her face. She was like green in Guardians of the Galaxy. She was blue. Then she was, I think in Star Trek, she had some weird like kind of like thing
She was
going
Uhura,
on.
right?
Yeah,
but maybe
Uhura, I don't remember.
She was Uhura, but like.
Yes. And Kate Winslet in the trailer holding her breath the entire time. So anyways, we'll keep an eye out for a Fire and Ash trailer that we probably will not talk about when it comes out because there won't necessarily be anything to comment on.
Maybe on the break room.
Okay. And then it's not a trailer, but a single image.
Images,
we got our first look at the Zelda film.
Yes.
There it is.
There's that look.
Yeah.
Now, Berg, you have some thoughts on this. We'll get to in 1 second.
I do, yes.
This film, obviously it's in production right now. I think this might be a 2027
2027,
release.
Yes.
Yeah. We don't know much about it other than its release date.
No, but Brian, can you pull that image back up again, please? So Zelda here, we got Zelda is the lady, for those of you who don't know. Zelda is the lady.
They named a game after a lady.
Link is the guy. But Zelda's outfit here is very reminiscent of her getup in Breath of the Wild, which was the first of the open world Zelda games on Switch. Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Now, in Breath of the Wild, Zelda's not a playable character. Link is the playable character, but as you go through the world of Breath of the Wild, there's like a really kind of pain in the butt, like mini series of quests you can do where if you stand at just the right place and use your camera, you can get like a flashback to what happened before the game started. Oh. And what that kind of reveals is that like Zelda's the hero and Link is kind of the sidekick who's waking up 40 years after the fact or whatever it is to sort of help keep things together while her power wanes, trying to keep Calamity Ganon at bay. So this costume seems to suggest that we're either going to get some Age of Imprisonment storyline or some Calamity Ganon stuff like that from the Switch games. It could also just be the most modern looking outfit that she has, where she's not in a pink dress. But I mean, yeah, this looks like Zelda and Link to me.
Yeah. With a heavy dose of Lord of the Rings.
They're in New Zealand,
coded
baby.
fantasy, right?
Yeah, they're in New Zealand.
Anytime you film a fantasy movie, you have to set it in New Zealand. You have to shoot in New Zealand.
Yeah, legally required.
It's legally,
I just want one shot in like Cincinnati.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'll tell you this: if you really want to see how far the on-screen representation of Zelda and Link have come, go on YouTube and look up the first episode of the 1989 Zelda, the animated series. It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks so much. Whatever you're thinking, I get it. It's probably just not very good. It is aggressively bad. Link is a pervert and he's constantly going excuse me, princess.
Yeah, we covered a couple episodes on my cartoon podcast and I was like, what is this? Everyone is like mean to Zelda.
I mean, people take for granted, and you know this better than anybody, Gina, you watch anything from the 80s, be that a film, a TV show, whatever, right? And compare it to something made today, almost everything's gotten better, right? Sure, there's a charm to the way things used to be made. And maybe you have some maybe there's kitsch, or maybe you have some sentimental value. But in general, writing has improved, special effects have improved, acting has improved, right? And man, animation is maybe the category where the growth has been the steepest.
Well, because animation from that era was also just, and Gina, again, you probably know more than I do about this. They were like, we need to sell some toys.
Yeah.
Why don't you make Dino Riders into a 2-season TV series?
Yeah.
And they just didn't. And some of the people who wrote on it was like, J. Michael Straczynski wrote on a bunch of that stuff.
A lot of them were like pyramid schemes too. Like if you look at the cartoons of the Deke era, they would fund one cartoon by being like, well, we have this other cartoon. So it was a pyramid scheme that was just like, we're using money from selling this other cartoon, blah, 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 blah. And then it was just a house of cards of like, well, Deke era G.I. Joe, we'll just use Deke era Gem to fund this, but then Gem has no money, and then this, and they kept. Yeah. And eventually that's what bankruptcy does.
Yeah, and there'd be all these weird half seasons because we couldn't afford to finish the season.
Yes,
and
exactly.
We sometimes we forget how good we have it now.
Oh man, we got Primal. We have Primal now.
Still coming back. I am jazzed.
Primal season 3. I am so jazzed for.
That's next year, right? 26.
I think so. Yeah,
not that far off. Maybe spring. Yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, a show like Primal that is gorgeous, and it won't even be one of the 5 most popular animated shows of next year, right? Yeah. But it's a staggering work of art. Right?
Yes.
And there's so much. I mean, I'm not even a big animation consumer, and there's so much high quality.
Scavenger's Reign.
Gorgeous, interesting,
side effects.
Really funny, all kinds of stuff. Anyways, okay.
One of our sponsors today is Squarespace. If one of the things you like about Thanksgiving is assembling your plate after somebody else cooks everything to perfection, then you'll love putting together a website with Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one tool that gives you all the ingredients you need to make a website that looks good and does whatever you need it to do. If you're selling goods or services, Squarespace can help you untangle digital payment platforms with just a few clicks, making it easy to start receiving payments right away using popular payment methods like Apple Pay, ACH Direct Debit, Klarna, and more. If you're not a graphic designer, don't worry. Squarespace's design intelligence tool makes it so easy to get your website looking just right. It combines 2 decades of industry-leading design expertise with cutting-edge AI technology. And every Squarespace website is optimized to be indexed with meta descriptions, an auto-generated sitemap, and more, so you show up more often to more people in global search engine results. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/breakroom to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
We have a couple bits of DC news.
Yes.
Right? It's all been confirmed that Man of Tomorrow, the next entry in the Superman saga after Supergirl, coming out in 2027, soon to go into production, will have as its main antagonist, the villain, will be Brainiac. And how was that confirmed? Berg specifically?
James Gunn, I believe, posted a picture of synapses from a cortical column of mouse brain tissue, but they're all like dyed and stuff, so you can tell the different kinds of neurons apart from one another.
But he didn't verbally confirm it, but he did post this, and then someone else sort of was like, "Hey, this is what we're hearing," and he didn't deny it.
One on the script that leaked too. Sorry, I gotta
pull her out.
Okay,
yeah,
right,
show us that dog.
Speaking of brainiacs, look at this permaderp. Come here, babe. You want some yum snacks? You want some yum snacks? Come here. Don't fall off. But so, also on the script, the picture of the script that James Gunn posted a while back. Here, babe. Come here. You missed some.
Yeah.
There was also a sagittal cut through a skull that showed the corpus callosum and a slice through the brain. So if it's not Brainiac, we all been done fooled real good. You're gonna fall.
Why so much head focus?
Yes. Yeah.
And much like the next thing we're going to talk about, he loves still being coy. Like he won't just say it out loud, right? But hey, that lets us speculate and have fun with it.
Yeah.
So the other thing, there was all this reporting last week, the week before, that a show has been greenlit or is in some advanced stage of development around Jimmy Olsen and the characters of the Daily Planet. And the rumor was that it was called DC Crime. James Gunn came out and said, there it is, just FYI, there has never been a project titled DC Crime in development. Not even as a working title. I don't know where that came from, but it's weird. And no, that doesn't mean all the rest of the story is false. So
DC Crime is not a good.
No,
it's not a good title.
It's so funny.
I don't know. It sounds like an improv scene that someone was doing.
His response is such a human,
crime.
like I don't know where that came from, but it's weird. Just such a human.
But he could also say, no, it's not called DC Crime. It's called this.
I bet
he doesn't do that.
I bet he doesn't know what it's called yet, though. I bet he has a working title that has not been approved.
The Jimmy Olsen Mysteries.
Yeah. Because it's not going to be GCPD, right? Because it's set in Metropolis.
I mean, I bet he has a title that he wants that has not been cleared, and like that the network refuses to like say like, yes, it's this.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably likely. Maybe this is a 2027. If we think Lanterns is going to be our live action DC we get next year,
right?
Yeah.
Maybe we also get an animated, like that's Creature Commando season 2 or something like that. And then the following year, maybe we get and maybe that comes out like leading up to Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe it's shot at the same time as Man of Tomorrow.
Because he'll want to capitalize. I mean, you don't want to wait too long for these things.
In the same way, Superman kind of led right into Peacemaker season 2. Right.
Yeah. And like, it's not quite the same because, it's off in its own little corner of the DC universe, but like, Batman was not that far ahead of Penguin, like it just kind of keeps these things like in the zeitgeist,
Good God, thankfully we had Penguin. Otherwise it would be like a decade between Batman movies.
A Batman desert, veritably.
Again, we are not getting Batman next year. That's still 2027.
That's way off. It's way off.
I just rewatched that movie. So good. Okay, so those are kind of dribs and drabs of DC news. We've had even fewer dribs and drabs of Marvel news, but that's why I mentioned this in the pre-show.
Coming.
Get ready.
Something's
I can
coming.
feel it. The moisture is gathering in the air, like the rain clouds are forming.
CCXP is going to have something.
Oh, yeah.
December 5th, it's coming up, just a couple weeks. CCXP, the giant Comic-Con thing in Brazil, where there's already been Marvel is going to be there. Disney Marvel's going to be there. A couple other studios are lined up.
Yeah.
Might get some really big news.
Every year they've got some good news that comes out of CCXP.
Yes. Okay, let's get to... First off, we want to shout out nerdriot.shop. Gina's wearing our Faces of Fear shirt that features a little guy there in the bottom row. Pennywise the Clown. Let's use that as a transition to talk about this week's episode of It. Welcome to Derry. We've been watching the show, loving it, being grossed out by it, intrigued by it. We got an interesting episode 4. We are halfway through the season, 8-episode season. So we got a mid-season trailer coming up the rest of the season. Gave us a lot of stuff, including our kind of best looks yet at that guy, Pennywise the Clown.
Yeah, he's clearly coming in.
Yes.
Coming in strong in the second half.
It's going to have multiple appearances in the back half of episodes. So how about before we talk more about it, Brian, why don't we cue up that mid-season trailer if we can?
I don't think they should take his hand.
I don't know. You just told me he's the good guy. Maybe that clown can save them from all the weird stuff going on.
That's true.
So we've seen him in kind of the edge of frame or in a blurry photo or whatever, but we've not gotten, and I guess this episode 4, when Mike Hanlon looks out the window. Will Hanlon. Will sees him under the tree, kind of creepy watching him.
Yeah.
That's kind of the most we've gotten of Pennywise so far.
Right.
But this is definitely, looks like he's going to appear in
his
multiple
Pennywise form.
Yes.
We've seen him in many other forms.
I think the glue, is that correct?
Yeah, the glue.
The correct name of the entity's real thing. Like, I think we've seen the glue show up plenty of times. Like, for me, I'm like, I'm not so afraid of clowns.
Yeah.
Humble brag.
You heard it.
I've been to a circus.
Berg all your clown pictures.
Yeah, I've been to a circus more than once without wetting my pants. I have wet my pants at the circus.
Yeah, for other reasons.
I'm only human. But we have been seeing Pennywise a lot. My thing with going into the second half of the season is I am surprised to see Margie joining like this proto losers club.
I mean, really, like there was so much blood at the end of this last episode. So to see her like ready to fight, like with Justin, I mean, I'm sure her eye is destroyed, but she's just got an eye patch on and she's like, yeah, let's go. And I'm like, damn, girl, you just tried to poke your own eyes out 10 seconds.
She just jabbed her own eye out, which I guess if anything will radicalize you to like, we've got to get this demon.
That's true.
The demon made me poke my own eye out.
Yeah. My eyes are open now.
Also, good to see that our what's our main girl's name? Lily is not instantly institutionalized, even though she was literally caught.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I do think it is a great way to sort of end that scene. But immediately afterwards, I was like, wait, Margie's still alive though, so she's definitely going to be like,
no,
she didn't do it. I did it.
Yeah. But I guess back then they would be like, shut up, you're a kid, you don't know what you're talking about.
But it looks like Lily's going to have quite a bit of interaction with Pennywise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, that opening shot of that trailer where she's in the attic looking through photos, seeing the kind of OG Pennywise the Dancing Clown photos. That attic looked a lot like the attic Taniel in this previous episode where we get the indigenous info dump.
I didn't put that together.
I don't know that they were the exact same. It was just kind of the lighting and it was general vibes.
No, I see that though. Yeah, for sure.
Because in my head I was like, oh, that looks like the same place. But yeah, it looks like she's going through, and we were talking about this before we started rolling. So we get a deliberate shot of the wig of the little kid clown that we saw in the flashbacks in episode 3.
Right. Yeah. So this may or may not be a spoiler because I have no idea if it will turn out to be true. But in the book, basically, Pennywise the Dancing Clown is a real man named Bob Gray, who the theory is that like Pennywise the entity at some point killed and assumed his identity.
Yeah.
And that real man, Bob Gray, had a daughter who we saw in, It Chapter 2, when adult Beverly goes to visit Mrs. Kirsch. Mrs. Kirsch has an album of the real Bob Gray, the real Pennywise clown, with his daughter. And so the theory is that clown that we saw last episode, who had the same makeup as Pennywise but was a little girl
in the flashback with Rose and
Yes,
and
and
James
Francis,
Remar's character.
Is Bob Gray's actual daughter, and that daughter grows up to be Madeline Stowe's character, who's the brunette, the nice seeming brunette lady who was at the institution with Lily and who Lily is talking about, because she keeps specifically saying, well, my father always said. So the theory is that she is Bob Gray's daughter. And maybe she invites Lily over and is like, I'm going to go make a cup of tea. And Lily's like, hey, what's in your attic here? Oh my God, it's scary pictures of a clown.
Yeah, and maybe you see a kind of in that shot, I think it's either in that shot or in a previous version of that shot, you see her in the attic and there's like somebody coming up in the attic who appears to have dark hair. Maybe that is her character, right? Madeline Stowe's character. Madeline Stowe, who had a heater run in the 90s. I'm talking 12 Monkeys. I'm talking Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
She was in like 7 all-time great movies in like 5 years.
Yes.
So happy to see her in something.
And then was on the show Revenge, if anyone's a TV, that was like sort of her comeback. But yeah, she was like an 80s and 90s darling.
Yes, but it's also, we were saying, she's been very lightly featured in the show thus far. You don't cast an actress of that stature and just have her be like, well, you know, in a couple scenes, like she's going to play
you how to role. Make a bed.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're like Stranger Things, and then you're just like, hey, we casted an 80s person and gave him a few lines.
Yeah. Maybe we'll kill him. Maybe not.
One of our sponsors today is Skims. For years, the only underwear I'd wear was the stuff I got for Christmas the previous year. It was always a functional bit of clothing for me. Comfort wasn't really a factor at all. Then, I got a few pairs of the stretch boxer briefs from Skims, and I'll never go back. They are truly the most comfortable underwear I have ever worn. They're lightweight and sleek and have that perfect balance between keeping everything in place while also making you feel like you're wearing nothing at all. Shop the best underwear for men and women at skims.com and let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey, then select Breakroom in the drop-down menu that follows. And if you're looking for the perfect gifts this season, the Skims holiday shop is now open at skims.com.
And Gina, you've also mentioned, which is like a total no-duh in hindsight, but I did not pick up at the time. Every time we see her, she mentions, my father always used to say.
Yeah. And the thing is like, you know, and the theory is that this Madeline Stowe character grows up to be the sort of Mrs. Kirsch character that we see, who actually is Pennywise in It Chapter 2. But yeah, they're very clearly like, they're trying to make her seem nice as hell. Like the only one that Lily can talk to. Also, presumably Lily in this episode was like, hey, my friends and I were chased by ghosts. And then she was just like, oh dear, you and your good friends.
You need good friends is her response.
That's her response. It seems very, like we didn't see the scene where Lily is like, okay, so there's like an entity that's like, chasing me and my friends, and it's killed a few of them. What's your advice? We didn't see Lily say that, but clearly Madeline Stowe's reaction is insane to be like, you can handle it with good friends. My father always said.
All of Derry has a gas leak. You know what I mean? That's the vibe of Derry is like gas leak city.
Right.
Well, so here was my question after watching this most recent episode, because I've seen both of the films.
Yeah.
When they were in theaters, though, so it's been a minute.
Yeah.
I've not read the book.
Okay.
I don't know how to read.
Okay. I knew that.
Facts.
But you know, they mentioned in the info dump at the end of the episode that there were 13 pillars kind of ringing in Pennywise. Mm-hmm. In the first episode of the season, they mentioned that there's 8 beacons.
Yes.
I'm curious, and Gina, because you said you're reading the book currently.
Yeah. Well, I read it when I was 15.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm rereading it now.
So you know how to read well enough to read the same book twice?
Apparently, it's over 1,000 pages. I cannot believe 15-year-old me picked that up and plowed through it.
Yeah. But so what is the connection between the beacons and the pillars?
So this is not. So all of this is Muschietti invention. So,
I see.
So in the original, which like, you know, Stephen King makes jokes about this. He's not the best at writing endings, but in the original, it's not like a Native American thing. It is like they find this in a Himalayan book of like, you know, of like, oh, you have to fight this trickster. A holy man has to like bite down on his tongue, and they have to tell each other jokes, and whoever laughs first and releases the tongue wins, basically. And so they sort of do this against Pennywise. Bill does it against Pennywise. He sort of defeats him when they're kids, but then he comes back. So that's all you get in the book. You do get like, and it's called the Ritual of Chud, which seems insane. But yes, the Ritual of Chud is a Himalayan ritual where Bill goes into the macroverse and fights Pennywise by they sort of bite down on each other's tongues and do this thing.
And the Pennywise, the Galoo's descent from the heavens is canon in Tommyknockers, right?
Yes. So Pennywise is basically an alien like that crashes down to Earth. And they talk about that more in the Tommyknockers, and they talk about it more in the Dark Tower, where you see another something that's the same species as Pennywise. So that is, but all of this Galoo stuff and the pillars, and in its chapter 1 and 2, the whole like, oh, you have to get relics that mean something to you and put it in this Native American bucket and then do this thing that will fail. That's all Muschietti invention, building on like, well, if this is an ancient thing, obviously ancient people would have a name for it, blah, 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 blah.
And I like that. Now, I've not been following the like online discourse around this show, like how like book lovers are reacting to this. But I like that like we are watching this trailer, and even you as somebody who knows the book and knows how that plot unfolds, does not know necessarily what this trailer is pretending because they have from the jump from the films and certainly in this series, they are changing a lot of this. What is being depicted in the show is not even covered in the book,
right?
Or they are like they're making some
it.
Conscious changes in time and which character does which kind of thing.
Right.
I had a conversation with Rebecca Drysdale, consulting producer on it, who I just happen to know socially. And this was after episode 2. We were mostly talking about Pickle Dad. Was 90% of the conversation. But, she was saying that a lot of the stuff that is happening is like almost, the equivalent of like a throwaway line in the book.
Yes.
But then they're completely fleshing out. So it's like,
yes.
It seems like Muschietti is like really kind of taking this as like the text of it as like a jungle gym to clamber around upon, as opposed to a cage that he's trapped within, which I like.
And
I like that.
And Stephen King loves it too, because like, King, he's had sort of a love-hate relationship with his adaptations, most famously with The Shining, which he hated. But in recent years, between Muschietti and Mike Flanagan, who's adapted quite a lot of Stephen King things, Stephen King is like, he loves them. And a lot of the time it's because of the stuff that they change versus the stuff that like the officers who are sort of like building out this bar for themselves to use, that will eventually go on to be in the book. It's called the Black Spot because it's where all the black officers could go and drink without like offending the white citizens of Derry. And that is just like a couple of paragraphs. And it's Mike Hanlon's dad tells him like, oh, there was a fire at the Black Spot. This is what happened. And so Muschietti is going back and looking at anything that was even mentioned.
I love
blowing it up.
That for me is part of what made Rogue One work so well. Like, if you're looking at shared cinematic universes, obviously you guys have heard of this Marvel thing that's like kind of happened. But Marvel built up to this like big climactic event. And like, episode 4 of Star Wars was like, it was kind of a self-contained movie, but it had this like little line at the beginning, like a band of rebels stole the plans. And they're like, well, okay, wait, but what is that? And then that became Rogue One and Andor. And it seems a little bit like that's what we're doing with the text of with this series.
And I will say like a challenge the show, and we'll see if it completely overcomes it by the end of the season, but like a couple of these characters we know survive.
Yes.
But the vast majority of these characters, we do not know what happens to them.
Right.
They do not show up in the films necessarily. And even some of the characters that do, we don't know if they're gonna still survive this show in the way that we are anticipating necessarily, right?
Right. Yeah, I think like the only characters that we know survive, like we know that Will Hanlon has to survive to have Mike Hanlon.
Yes, and Dick Halloran has to make it to that Overlook Hotel.
That's true. Yeah,
he's probably safe. But
I guess like theoretically, like Chief Bowers, although if his son is already born at this point, he could also die. But yeah, like Lily could die.
Almost all the kids.
Marge could die. Any of those kids could
Ronnie, die. Like any of them might not make it.
The idea is with future seasons, we'll be going back another cycle.
Right? Yeah,
so
that's also an interesting choice. They've already said the next season will be set in the 20s, and that'll be with the gangster shootout.
Yeah.
Building to that as the big disaster at the end of the season, much like this one's building to the fire at the end of this season. It's interesting to work your way backwards as opposed to like work your way forwards.
I do think it's easier for a writer. Like I think it's easier because then like you can just be like, okay, let's like the book sort of lays out a timeline. So we know that one giant accident happens in every cycle.
Yeah.
Let's just build.
Let's just focus on that instead of having to. I'm trying to pick up this potato, instead of having to like leave all these like loose threads dangling.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Instead, you get to plant threads that have already been paid off.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
And then
that's that character's grandpa.
Yeah, and then you get to be like, well, I guess we're not going to see these kids again. Because it's not like when you go back 27 years, any of those kids will be alive.
You don't have to worry about like Finn Wolfhard aging weird.
And in an imperfect analogy there too, it's a little bit what's happened with Game of Thrones, right? Like they have gone backwards in time from the events of Game of Thrones. And I mean, they've gone thousands of years, hundreds of years backwards in time.
And that ended up being better, like because of it, because they weren't so beholden.
And they didn't need to be right up against the text that we've already seen on screen, right?
Yeah.
Though this will be a little tighter, again, just kind of jumping basically one generation backwards.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about what we've seen so far in the show. You know, we've already kind of made a couple jokes about the eyeballs in this most recent episode. Each one of these episodes, and I've been like consistently pretty surprised. They're built around 1 to 2 big kind of CGI, scary, gross out
and I'll say
set pieces.
Overall, I've thought the CGI has been pretty good, with the exception of the bike chase, which felt like the thing that should have been easiest to do without CGI. But I thought Pickle Dad and Mutant Baby looked great.
Even the mom birth thing with Ronnie was incredible. Well, that was almost all practical too.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, if I have one Muschietti complaint, it's that I do wish, like, even when he shows the scary people, like even with that like missionary, he was terrifying before he like grew those long limbs and started coming after her.
In the making of episode 4 thing that they show at the end, right? Like that hand that reaches out and grabs Will Hanlon is a real hand. They had a stuntman under the water, pull that kid down there, right? Great. And it looked good. And like they even had the coy looking fish.
That was
a robot fish.
I
love that. Cool. Yeah, as we mentioned, with Ronnie, the creepy like mother giving birth scene was almost all practical.
Right.
Even your mentioned Pickle Dad. I mean, obviously when he becomes like a weird octopus looking creature that's fully CGI, but like they had a jar with a real kind of face in it, and like all that stuff with the rows of grocery store aisles moving was all real. I think like the show is at its best
when it's doing practical
it's
stuff.
At least maybe practical stuff augmented with
that's like the Jurassic Park secret, right? It's like or like even Fury Road, which is like famously like, oh man, there's no CGI. There's tons of CGI in Fury Road. It's just the stuff you're most focused on looks real, has that kind of texture and weight to it.
Right.
You know?
Yes. And I think, where did I see this? I think there was an article or a video that just came out that was talking about like a quality that is missing from some of the real CGI heavy releases lately is that haptic response.
I know that you were watching this because I saw it in my sidebar.
Yes,
when I was going
it's a video that's getting recommended to all of us.
And
it's this idea of like, even if all of it's fantastic, obviously there's no real monsters or ghosts in the universe. So like when we see there's zombies or whatever, when we see that, we know it's fake. But like if the actors on screen are able to physically touch something, it hits different than when Scarlett Johansson is rubbing a fully CGI brontosaurus, right?
Well, like, even that scene with the eyes, when you see in the featurette afterwards how they did that, they have like giant circles on the actors' eyes, and then they have things sticking up so that she knows where to grab. I mean, they look like palm fronds, kind of like sticking, like or cat o' nine tails. What are those plants called?
Reeds.
Like, and she's like grabbing them. Because if there was nothing there, you would basically just have a kid actor being like, "Oh, my eyes!" Like here,
and especially for child actors, who it's like, you need to set them up for success.
It's not like that actor has 20 years of doing CGI void work, you know.
And obviously, it's a spectrum. It's not like some show or film does it all great and some does it all bad or whatever. Right? There's moments of both, and even like something like Avengers Endgame, that final battle that is obviously tons of CGI and largely shot on a volume, but also Josh Brolin was out there in a mocap suit doing some of that stuff too.
And
right?
I think with it overall, the effects for me really work and are pretty effective. You know, like
agreed.
It's the bike ride through the cemetery stands out for me because it felt out of character for how the effects on that show normally hit me. But even then, it was like, I don't know, I wouldn't want to be on a bike in the cemetery.
But also, I totally agree. I think of all the big sequences in the show so far, that's the one that worked for me the least as well.
Yes.
But like the moment at the end of that, where Will goes into the crypt and takes the photo is the scariest part of it.
You just see the flash from the crypt?
Because like that's all real and like you don't know what he's seeing and he just goes in and that's way scarier than when they're like, you know, almost slapsticky.
Either way.
If anyone has not seen the original miniseries, which was 1990, it's great. It's killer. It's got some amazing actors in it. John Ritter is in it. And obviously,
and Tim Curry.
Big ups TC. And it works so well, and there isn't a lot of CGI in it. But it all hinges on who you cast as Pennywise, because both Skarsgård and Tim Curry are great and genuinely can be terrifying.
And very different takes.
Like Tim Curry, you know, it's all like makeup. Skarsgård can do that thing, like he really does that thing with his eye because he has that lazy eye.
He's making vocal choices on top of choices on top of choices.
And I think like if you nail that, but that's also like a great example of, you know, who's the if you've got like someone like Doug Jones in a role, who's like you know the famous. He's every creature in like
Abe
every
Sapien. He's
Del Toro.
Like
if you get an actor like that who is just like so physically good and can do so many different weird things with their bodies, like I don't think you need all the like clickety clack clacks. Like, you know, do the whole thing that what was it Train to Busan did, where they were like casting, you know, like different like double jointed contortionists.
And even like talking about this is in episode 3 in the flashback sequence, right, where the boy goes to the fair and sees like the real Thin Man and then gets chased by CGI, you know, Thin Man or whatever.
That dude was terrifying before, again.
Yes, just the man popping out with his weird face.
In the dark.
Yes.
I don't think, to me, it didn't add anything when they like make his, but I know that Muschietti likes that. And I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just like, dog, that was already scary enough.
Yeah. I think it's like how much you use it.
And I will say also like, the mutant baby looked great. Yeah. You know, when I saw him, like one of the makings up, they just had a baby head on a pole. Yeah. They were like waving around.
Kids to look at.
In the theater, you know, which is like, that mutant baby, obviously, they didn't cast that guy.
I mean, there is a mutant baby out there who was thinking that this was their big break.
He's watching the show going, I was up for that.
Tired of these CG mutant babies taking real mutant baby jobs, okay? It's hard enough for us to get work.
This is the world we live in.
Yes. Throw in the chat, and we'll go to the chat here too. What are you thinking of Welcome to Derry
let us know your thoughts.
It's been, I will say, like, sometimes, especially for horror shows, it can be hard to keep up the tension, to keep up the scariness. And we're just 4 episodes in, so we'll see if they can stick the landing on the season.
Far they're doing pretty well.
But so far, I think they're doing great. And
I think the other storylines are so good that, like, my favorite part from this episode was like when Charlotte, talks down to that, like basically puts that white cop in his place.
Oh, Taylor Page's character?
She's like, I'll have RFK, JFK, like all MLK, all the FKs. And I was like, oh, this is my favorite scene. And it has nothing to do with like being scary. It's just that like, I want to see this woman succeed. I'm very worried for her.
Yes.
I'm more worried for this show.
And when the guy was like, it was a white woman, I was like, oh no.
Yeah. I mean,
I kind of
knew,
saw that coming. Right?
Last episode when he wasn't giving his alibi, it's like, oh, okay.
Now, probably is somebody we've met. Right?
I mean, that's my theory.
And it's a married woman, so is it maybe the mom of one of the kids we already know?
Well, the thing is, like, so Lily's dad is dead, so it wouldn't really make a difference. But the way he said, like, oh, if they find it out, like, what happens to me will be worse than what happens in Shawshank. My theory is that it's either Chief Bowers' wife, because in the future, Henry Bowers hates like Mike Hanlon and is super racist. And we're not seeing that from this character. So it would make sense if there's something to sort of like have him like radicalize and then like teach his kid and his grandkid. Like, and then
you heard it here first, folks. Gina Ippolito thinks racism is justifiable.
If you're a cop in 1962, and someone's
very specific set of circumstances.
My other theory is that like maybe it's Maddie, the first kid that we saw die by the in the car.
Oh.
Maybe it's his mom because like
because his dad's abusive.
Yes. And he said, and you know,
and he did intimate that like this woman would be in danger.
Yes,
if it came out,
because it has to be someone we either heard about or we know, and there aren't that many white people on this show. Like, you know, Rich's parents are Cuban. Like, you know, like there's a lot of the other characters are native characters, and so there aren't that many like married white women
who have been introduced so far.
Right.
Or at least we know one of their family members. Or something like
exactly.
That.
Exactly.
We're getting just a couple, a lot of love for Tim Curry's Pennywise in the chat here. King's Portal saying Tim Curry is Pennywise to me and putting in a clown emoji that will come out of the computer and kill me.
Oh, man.
And then Danny Dramatic saying, I told my mom I had a phobia of clowns when I was 12, and she made me sit down and watch Tim Curry's It.
Oh, that's
If I didn't have a phobia before, I definitely did after.
That is my kind of parent. That is
wow. That's like if you have a nut allergy as a young child, they're like, microdose nuts until it goes away.
That's what my niece.
But that is macrodosing.
It's macrodosing clowns.
Right there.
Listen, I mean, I think I watched it like in 1990, so I was definitely too young to watch it, and then shortly thereafter read the book. So
wow. You were inoculated early.
I was in favor of scary things.
I'm going to do a couple Twitch shout outs because I know Gina has to go and I want these people to get their due. Beltalota giving out 1 gift sub on Twitch. Thank you, Beltalota.
Beltalota also saying, ask Zach how he feels about Dune Prophecy Season 2 happening.
Yes.
I'm mixed. Now, I'm never going to look askance at more Dune content in my life. Can't wait for Dune 3. I have a lot of thoughts on Dune 3. You know, Dune 3 and Avengers Doomsday currently scheduled to come out the same day.
I know, that's going to be a hell of a weekend.
Who blinks?
Yeah.
I think Dune's going to blink, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Also, I'll
double feature that.
Avenger Doomsday.
I do think they could do a
It's
Barbie,
a Oppenheimer,
though there's a lot more overlap in audience than there would have been with Barbie and Oppenheimer. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
Could be, but whatever. I'm through. I bet it gets bumped to 27, which is fine. I didn't love Dune Prophecy Season 1, but I think
you watched it.
I did, but I think that had some behind the scenes, like fired showrunners come in, re-edit, and so as sometimes happens, like as we're kind of hoping for Daredevil Born Again Season 2, troubled first season, but second season the team's in place from the jump. Fewer troubles, better show.
Yeah, maybe. Also they might know how to market it better, because my main complaint was like, wait, did this show come out already? And then it came and went, and they did not do a good job of promoting it.
No, and you always wonder if that's a chicken and the egg of like, they saw the show and didn't think it was great, so they didn't want to put a lot of juice into it. But then it's weird to give it a second season.
Yeah.
And now how much of that is just Warner Brothers and HBO is committed to the Dune franchise?
Well, also the Dune book. I mean, you know better than I do, but there is so much in the Dune books you could mine from material.
And much like Welcome to Derry, right? Like this actually, Dune Prophecy is covering a lot of stuff that is not directly covered in the books, but is stuff you can expand upon.
That book, I might be in the minority, but when I read the first Dune, it was such a slog. I felt the same way reading that as I felt reading House of the Dragon. Like
I'll tell you this.
Good Lord, I have started, so now I can't stop because my brain won't let me, but it is a slog.
I love Dune. It is written in a style of prose that has not aged well.
Yeah.
Like it's a great story and it's poorly written.
It's also like 50, 60 years old, right?
Yes.
Which is whatever. There's a lot of good 100, 200-year-old books. But like, that particular genre, it is
that
like,
I think sci-fi, a lot of Asimov, a lot of Arthur C. Clarke.
I like the book. Maybe don't love it, but I like it.
Yeah.
But that is also the movies are better than the book.
Yeah.
One of the rare things, especially the Villeneuve movies now. And I have a soft spot for the Lynch movie. Villeneuve movies are better than the book. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
Now, we'll see if he keeps that trend going. Because the Dune books, a lot of people argue, decline in quality. Let's see if the movie does or what.
But also, is this going to be his life? Is he James Cameroning this?
No, because he's going to go do James Bond.
I know his life is going to be.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, and I think he said he wanted to do 3 Dune movies.
Yeah,
so maybe he kind of is able to wrap it up here. Maybe he gets his kind of Return of the King Oscar, whatever, and then he's off to James Bond land for a couple of years. Yeah. The rest of this week on the Breakroom, if you've made it this far, you are going to want to show up on Wednesday. It's an extra special, super special episode of the Breakroom, featuring a special thing from one of our frequent know 'em and love 'em staff members. Trust me, if you're the kind of person that has spent time with us here in the Breakroom,
you want to be here on
Wednesday. And then Friday, again, card subject to change, but like Friday, we're going to be talking Wicked. Eric and Jessica and other members of the staff are seeing Wicked this week. We'll have the breakdown going up on New Rockstars on Friday, and they are going to be here talking about Wicked for Good on Friday.
Yes.
Also, are people watching Pluribus? Let us know, like in the chat. Are you?
I am
Because
loving
we're all watching
Pluribus.
Pluribus, and I can't tell if it's our bubble or if this is
It's
actually like a
the
popular
Apple
show.
TV handicap.
Yeah. I mean, those Apple TV shows only, in my experience, get hotter and hotter. Like I remember when I first started to hear about Severance, and everyone was like, "Oh, you haven't watched Severance yet?" And I was like, "What the fuck is Severance?"
It's because Apple TV doesn't promote it.
They don't promote it.
People have to kind of discover stuff organically.
Has been proven. I remember with Slow Horses, people were like, "You got to watch Slow Horses," and I was like, "Are you making titles up?" Then I watched them, and I'm like, "Ah, damn it."
Yeah,
I'll tell you, I've read Apple TV.
I've read like 5 or 6 of those Slow Horses books, and the TV shows are not only great on their own; they're fantastic adaptations as well,
Apple
which
TV
doesn't
is
always
doing
happen.
It right,
Yeah.
they just don't promote.
Gary Oldman on that show.
Yeah.
He's just
he's a national treasure.
incredible.
Not our
incredible.
nation. Not our nation, a different nation, but he's
yeah.
a national treasure for someone.
International treasure.
International treasure.
Thank you all so much for watching, everybody. Thank you, Berg and Gina, for being here. Thank you, Gigi, the dog, for making an appearance. Tongue and all.
Tongue is always hanging out. Got no teeth.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Final shout out here. Bummin' with Bo. With a 16 months up on Twitch, I'd have a few more months had I figured out how to link my Prime accounts. Yes, on Pluribus. Well, thank you, Bo.
We'll credit it.
Yeah, we'll credit it. Yeah,
Yes.
16 month. We'll give you a solid 20.
Yes.
We'll give you 20.
But thank you all. Hope you have a great week. Check out the episode 4, Welcome to Derry breakdown should be dropping.
Just went live while we were
Over
here.
on
That was
live.
one of the
We're
big
watching
notifications
now.
about.
Go watch that if you haven't already, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye,
Okay,
everybody.
bye. Thanks all.